Okay, last class we have discussed about transmission coefficient. Okay, uh, T T transmission coefficient is means T. Okay, coefficient transmission coefficient. Okay, it is simply the ratio of transmitted electric field to the incident electric field. Transmitted electric field to the incident electric field. It is the ratio of transmitted transmitted E field to the incident E field Okay. So okay, so that transmission coefficient T is equal to Et naught divided by Ei naught, that is equal to 2 eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. Okay, in general, the reflection coefficient or otherwise transmission coefficient is equal to 1 minus okay reflection coefficient, or otherwise that means T is equal to 1 by R, or otherwise R is equal to 1 by T, or otherwise reflection coefficient plus transmission coefficient is equal to 1 Okay, so for reflection coefficient, again we are using another notation, that is tau. Okay, that is tau means in our case that is a reflection coefficient, so you can use that notation. Okay, some book they used to use K also. Okay, you can use any notation, no problem. Okay, so the reflection coefficient means always tau. Okay, 1 minus tau, then tau is equal to 1 minus T, then tau plus T is equal to 1. So then once if I know the reflection coefficient 1 minus tau, then I can calculate T, that is 1 minus eta 2 minus eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. So eta 2 plus eta 1 minus eta 2 plus eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. So finally that is equal to 2 eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. So once if we know the reflection coefficient formula, then also you can derive the transmission coefficient formula, okay, without remembering. Okay, so so once if you have both a reflection and a transmission coefficient, okay, then what happens? If okay, so from this formula, if your eta 1 is equal to eta 2, then definitely the reflection coefficient is 0. Okay, reflection coefficient is 0. Then if eta 1 is equal to eta 2, then what is transmission coefficient? That is equal to 1, because eta 1 and eta 2 is really same. Once if you substitute in that formula, okay, if eta 1 is equal to eta 2, then you'll get 2 eta 1, 2 cancels, then you are getting only 1. So transmission coefficient is 1. Then what is the meaning of this one? No impedance discontinuity. Okay, no impedance discontinuity. That means what? You are on the same medium. Okay, you are not going to any new medium. It means what? You are on the same medium. You are on same medium. Okay, you are not going to new medium. Okay, so when or otherwise if the medium 2 is of perfect conductor, okay, if medium 2 is of perfect conductor, okay, so for example if medium 2, if eta 2, if sorry, the medium 2, if medium 2 is of perfect conductor, if medium 2 is perfect conductor, okay, if medium 2 is perfect conductor, okay, then what happens? If medium 2 is perfect conductor, then reflection coefficient eta 2 is equal to 0. Sorry, the impedance value, intrinsic impedance value eta 2 is equal to 0. Then what is your reflection coefficient? When eta 2 is 0, you are having formula eta 2 minus eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. When eta 2 is 0, so your reflection coefficient is minus 1, or otherwise you can write it as 180 degree. Then what is your transmission coefficient? Okay, what is your transmission coefficient? Okay, so transmission coefficient, say for example 2 eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1, eta 2 plus eta 1. Okay, so from this formula, I think your transmission coefficient has to be actually 0, but transmission coefficient has to be 0. Okay, so I think, but it is coming as 2, but actually that will be 0, or otherwise you have to take medium 1 as a perfect conductor. Okay, then okay, we'll clarify it later. But whenever you have perfect reflection, say for example, if this mod value is 1, okay, definitely your transmission from this formula, the transmission coefficient actually has to be 0. Okay, because our magnitude is important, so transmission coefficient is equal to 1 minus reflection coefficient. So finally you'll get a transmission coefficient is 0, but by formula you are getting 2 because here the magnitude is minus 1. That's why you are getting 2, because t is equal to minus of minus 1, you will get 2, but that is not true, but the 0 is correct answer. Okay, so you'll get a zero transmission, so complete reflection will be there. Whenever the electric field is incident on the conductor, you'll get a complete reflection, then there will not be any transmission at all. There will not be any transmission. Okay, so one more parameter we have to analyze. Okay, that parameter is called S. Okay, standing wave. Okay, standing wave. Okay, in general, standing wave means ratio of the maximum voltage to the minimum voltage. That parameter and all will clearly see in transmission line, but the standing wave is related with the reflection coefficient in this manner: 1 plus modulus value of reflection coefficient and 1 minus modulus value of the reflection coefficient. Because in general, the reflection coefficient can be complex. In general, gamma can be positive or negative. It can be complex, but here we need only magnitude. We need only magnitude. Okay, so this is the reflection coefficient. But you know one thing, see, the reflection coefficient magnitude can be in between 0 to 1. Okay, if it is in between 0 to 1, then what happens? Once if we put 0, S value is 1. Okay, S value is 1. So from this, if gamma value is 0, that indicates that S is equal to 1. That means there is no reflection. Okay, no reflection. Okay, no reflection. When gamma value is equal to 1, S is equal to infinite, that means complete reflection is there. Complete reflection. Then what is the meaning of S? If S is in between 1 to infinite, then there will be a partial reflection. Okay, then there will be the, if S value is in between 1 to infinite, then partial reflection will be there. Partial reflection will be there. But one thing is very clear: as you as S value increases, then the amount of reflection increases. So if S value increases, what is the meaning of that one? Amount of reflection increases. Amount of reflection increases. That means that reflection coefficient also will increase from 0 to 1. Amount of reflection increases. If S value increases, amount of reflection also will increase. Okay, then we have to know the power reflection coefficient. Okay, so once if we know the reflection coefficient, then what is power reflection coefficient? Okay, power reflection coefficient, that is equal to tau square. Okay, that is tau square. You know tau, then you take square, that is power reflection coefficient. Then what is the power transmission coefficient? So power transmission coefficient, power transmission coefficient is equal to 1 minus tau square. Okay, so when And the reflection coefficient is for only for electric field, you have to calculate tau. If it is for power, you have to calculate 1 minus tau square for transmission. For reflection, simply tau square. For reflection, simply tau square. Okay. Then next we'll see oblique incidence. Next we'll see oblique incidence. Okay, so next we'll see the oblique incidence. Okay, so see, whenever you are going from one medium to another medium, okay, say if you are going from one medium to another medium, okay, so when you go from one medium to another medium, if you are making at some angle other than 90 degree, okay, the angle of incident is other than 90 degree. Say if your signal goes like this, if your signal goes like this, now you are making some angle, but that angle is not 90 degree. This is your direction of propagation. Okay, this is your direction of propagation. Okay, see DOP, this is your direction of propagation. Now you are at some angle, but that angle is not 90 degree. You are at some angle, that angle is not 90 degree, and this is your direction of electric field. Okay, I'm denoting like this. This is your direction of electric field, and this is your direction of magnetic field. Okay, this is your direction of magnetic field. Okay, Ex, this is Ex, and this is Ey, and this is your direction of propagation. All are perpendicular to each other, but the direction of propagation vector is making some angle other than 90 degree with the interface, okay, this is your medium 1, okay, this is your medium 2, this is the interface. Okay, with the interface it is making angle of other than 90 degree. So what is the definition? If your angle, if angle between direction of propagation, angle between direction of propagation and interface is other than 90 degree, and interface is, if it is 90 degree, that is normal incidence. Okay, if it is other than 90 degree, that is called oblique incidence. Other than 90 degree, then it's called as oblique incidence. Okay, then to deal about this oblique incident, okay, we should know Snell's law. We should know Snell's law, because in optical communication, Snell's law deals with the light. If it goes from one medium to another medium, then what happens to the incident angle as well as the reflected angle? What happens to the incident angle and the reflected angle? That we have to see now. Okay, then Snell's law. Okay, Snell's law, you know the Snell's law formula. The angle of the refractive index of the medium 1, the angle in the medium 1 is equal to refractive index in medium 2, then angle in the medium 2, then refractive index of any medium can be denoted as, say for example, epsilon r. Epsilon is relative permittivity of the medium, then epsilon r is equal to n square, or otherwise n is equal to square root of epsilon r. Okay, this is the relation between the refractive index and relative permittivity of the medium. Okay, then very simply you can remember epsilon is one term, r is another term, simply n square, without any confusion, because in future you should not have confusion like whether n is equal to epsilon square or epsilon is equal to n square, like that. Okay, so very easily you can remember. Okay, so now I'll draw the diagram. Okay, so if the interface is like this, okay, if the interface is like this, and I'm going from one medium to another medium, okay, this is the medium 1, n1. Okay, this is the, I am at medium 1, I am at some angle. Okay, so like this, now like this. Okay, so now say this is my theta I. Okay, this is my theta I, this is my theta t. Okay, so incident angle, and this one is transmitted angle. This is medium 1, this is medium 2. Okay, so medium 1 is denoted by n1 or epsilon r1, this is denoted as n2 or epsilon r2. Okay. Now, as per Snell's law, n1 sine theta 1 is equal to n2 sine theta 2, n2 sine theta 2. Okay. Now you know n1 can be replaced by epsilon r1, square root of epsilon r1, then sine theta 1. The theta 1 means theta I, incident angle. Okay. N2 means epsilon r2. Theta 2 means what? Theta t, transmitted angle. A transmitted angle. So this can also be modified like this: sine theta I divided by sine theta t is equal to square root of epsilon r2 divided by square root of epsilon r1. Okay, so this is the Snell's law. Now, once if you know the refractive relative permittivity of the medium 1 and 2, then once if you know the incident angle, then very easily you can find out the transmitted angle. Very easily you can find out the transmitted angle. So, see what is actually happening from this formula. Once if you observe this formula, once if you fix the relative permittivity of the medium from this formula, once if relative permittivity of the medium is fixed, say epsilon r1 is constant, epsilon r2 is constant, then it's very clear if you increase the angle of incident, okay, if you increase the angle of incidence, then what will increase? Theta t will increase. If you increase the angle of incident, then theta t will increase. But if you decrease the angle of incidence, okay, the theta t also will decrease. Okay, if you increase the angle of incident, theta t will increase. Okay, so what I'm doing, after fixing my epsilon r2 and epsilon r1, okay, I keep on increasing epsilon I at some point of time. At some theta I, okay, when I keep on increasing theta I, at some I, there is the possibility that my theta t can go to 90 degree. My theta t can go to 90 degree. Please remember, this is directly proportional, but this is not equal. Okay, what is the idea? If theta increases, theta t will increase, but we do not know what is the actual value. That is decided by this equation. That is decided by this equation. So, but one thing is clear: if I increase theta I, definitely my theta t also will increase. At some point of time, my theta t can be 90 degree. My theta t can be maybe 90 degree. Now my question is, okay, at what point of time, at what incident angle I will get the reflection? I will get the complete reflection. Instead of transmission, I have to get the complete reflection. So if theta t is 90 degree, definitely you will go in this axis. If it just increases, then you may come like this. Okay, if it just increases, then your reflected component also will present only in the first medium. Okay, there will not be any rays in the second medium. There will not be any rays in the second medium. So the idea is I keep on increasing theta I. At some point of time, theta t becomes 90 degree. So once if it becomes 90 degree, that particular angle is called critical angle, because beyond that angle, if I increase my theta I, beyond that angle, if I increase my theta I, definitely I will get complete reflection. Definitely I will get a complete reflection. That particular angle, okay, that particular angle is called a critical angle. That particular angle is called a critical angle. If my theta I is less than theta C, definitely my theta T will be less than 90 degrees. So what is idea here? You choose incident angle in such a way that is equal to critical angle, but that time exactly your theta t is equal to 90 degree. Just the total internal reflection starts. Just the total internal reflection starts. So when my theta I is equal to theta c, so my theta t can become 90 degree. But once if I substitute that in that base equation, so instead of theta I put a theta c. Okay, sine 90 degree is 1. So epsilon r2, then epsilon r1 overall square root. So once if I have this equation, sine theta c, okay, epsilon r2, epsilon r1, okay, so my theta c is clearly decided by the medium properties. Okay, so okay, that at what angle the total internal reflection starts, okay, at what incident angle, that is decided by the medium properties. Okay, that is decided by the medium properties. So what is Theta C means critical angle. Theta C is what, sir? Critical angle. It is the angle of incident. Okay, it is the angle of incident at which theta t is equal to 90 degree. Okay, I can see two definition here. Okay, what is critical angle? Theta C is critical angle. Angle of incident at which theta t is equal to 90 degree. Theta t is equal to 90 degree, or otherwise, it is the minimum angle at which the total internal reflection starts. Okay, it is the minimum angle at which total internal reflection starts. Okay, there is no transmission, only reflection is there. Minimum angle at which total internal reflection starts. Okay, it is the minimum angle at which total internal reflection starts. Now the question arises, what will happen if theta I is less than theta C? So now the condition is, if theta I is equal to theta C, definitely my theta T will be 90 degree. Okay, definitely total internal reflection is there. If my theta I is less than theta C, okay, then my theta T will be less than 90 degree. When theta T is less than 90 degree, what is the meaning of that? There is no reflection. Okay, so no reflection, no total internal reflection, Here what happens? TIR just starts. Okay, or if my theta I is greater than theta C, definitely my theta T will be greater than 90 degree. Okay, because if I increase theta I, definitely theta T also will increase. Okay, if theta T is greater than 90 degree, then total internal reflection present. Okay, definitely total internal reflection present. Okay, that is the idea. That is the idea how the total internal reflection starts in case of fiber optics. Because and again, again one more thing you have to see, sin theta C is equal to square root of epsilon r2 divided by epsilon r1. If this equation has to be valid, because the maximum value of theta C is equal to okay, maximum value of sin theta is always 1. That's why the epsilon r2 has to be less than or equal to epsilon r1. Once if the case is like this, n2 is less than n1, n2 is less than n1. That's why the n2 is always a cladding, and n1 is always core. N1 means always core. So once if you go from core to the cladding, okay, core should have high refractive index and cladding should have the low refractive index. Then only there will be total internal reflection. So what they are telling, see, if you have core like this and if you have cladding, okay, this is made of cladding. Okay, this is made of cladding. Once if you go from, this is like core. Once if you are in a core, if your light ray goes like this, once if you again, this is n1 core refractive index and this is n2 cladding refractive index. Okay, then n1 has to be greater than n2, then only you will have reflection, like this. Otherwise what will happen? Okay, if you are not satisfying this condition, okay, there will not be total internal reflection. Your light rays will go to the cladding. Okay, then it will decay in the cladding itself. It cannot be taken to longer distance. Okay, if there is total internal reflection, then only your light rays can go to longer distance. Okay, that is the idea of fiber optics. Okay, then what is the condition for total internal reflection? Finally, what is the condition for total internal reflection? Okay, so the first condition is, epsilon r1. First condition is relative permittivity of the medium 1 has to be greater than the medium 2. Epsilon r1 should be greater than epsilon r2, or otherwise n1 should be greater than n2. One more condition is theta I should be greater than theta C. Okay, that means what? Theta I should be always greater than the sine inverse of, because theta C value I can calculate like this, sine epsilon 2 divided by epsilon 1. You can put epsilon R2 by epsilon R1, or otherwise epsilon 2 divided by epsilon 1. Okay, then what is the transmission coefficient? The transmission coefficient is 0. Complete reflection is there, so that means t minus 1 is equal to minus 1. Okay, this is the condition for total internal reflection. Okay, very important for fiber optics. Okay, again, very important for oblique incidence also. You have to use Snell's law. Okay, so this is the idea of the oblique incident. Okay, yes. Okay, we'll stop here.